So in front of me is all the kit that you get when you buy a Dexta unit, or the new one, which is the Data Logic Memor. So I'm going to do this as an unboxing and a complete walkthrough of how to set it all up, and including the software. So firstly, we'll get this card. It is a QR code, and what you do is you scan that on your phone. It'll link you to the YouTube video, including this video that we're recording right now, and it's going to show you how to set it up. So that's what that's there for. Alright, that's what that's there for. So moving along, this is the device itself, so we'll do that last. In the other white box you get, I'm not actually going to use this too much, but this is the boot. It's made of rubber. It's so that if you drop the device, it's a little bit more protected. Keep in mind, if you use this, it won't fit in the dock to charge, so you will need to do it separately if you come to that. So I'll leave that to the side as well, and we'll open up the last thing. So in the big brown box, if I open that one up, alright, so in here we have our dock. So that's what our dock looks like. So you put your device in upside down once it's plugged in, and in here will be our power. So if I open this up, now you'll get a bunch of adapters as well. Just a ton of them. So you want that one for Australia. Everything else over to the side. I'll leave that adapter there. You will get your power here and your adapter, and just snap that or slide that in like that. And then all it is you've got one circular connector there and one power bit on the back. And that's all there is to power the dock. Now you might get these as well, which is just like your slippage things for your desk, so that this mount doesn't move around a whole lot, though the base is fairly heavy for what it is, so it's not going to move around a whole lot anyway. So I'll move that to the side. So there is our dock. I'll just refocus on that. There we go. So I will I will open this. We've got a sticker covering it. I'll just grab a pen. So there's a sticker there covering that up. So I'm just gonna poke so I've broken it. There we go. That lifts easier. And out comes our device. Alright, so this is the Memor 1. This is the more common of the units that we're selling, so I'll bring it out. There it is. Now I'm not sure if you can see that, but out of the box it has a little bubble in its screen there. You can run a card up to the speaker and it will get rid of that bubble. Alternatively, there's a little tab there to remove the screen protector altogether. Now, when you get this arrive at site, and once it's there and ready to go, before you call us to get it set up, what you're going to do is plug it in upside down in your dock, plug the dock in, wait at least an hour for it to charge, and then call us. So, because these go in storage for a while, typically by the time they get to site, there's no power in them, they won't turn on. So I'll hold down the button, you'll see nothing's happening. No matter what I do, there's no other buttons on it, won't turn on. So it does need charge before we go any further. So I'll put that there, I'll put it on charge, and I'll come back to you shortly. Alright, so it's been approximately 5 minutes since I turned off the camera. So you can see the device is just powered on. I'm not sure if you can quite see it, but that battery is quite low. That's alright, we can set up the rest of this from the dock itself. But essentially, so this is the home screen. Now, because the battery's so low, we're going to leave it in the dock while we do this. But you go, hi there, English United States, click start. Now it's going to ask us to connect to Wi-Fi. Before we go any further, for any of you that are familiar with Android devices, this is basically going to be an Android device setup. I'll put a timestamp on the screen now about where to skip to get past all of this setup. If you're not familiar with that though, we'll continue on. So in this case we've got all of our Wi-Fi points, so you'd want to click on your Wi-Fi, put in your password. I'm going to do that now and I'm going to skip past it. So you can see there it's authenticating, it's going through and connecting, it's checking for its updates. And we're here. Alright, so at this point it's going to ask us if we want to copy across apps and data. So if you've had an Android device in the past, you can copy your data. I'm going to set up as new. So it's checking information. Alrighty, so at this point we need to set up a Google account. Now if you already have one, you can just feel free to sign in on your email or phone there, put that in and off you go. I'm going to set this up as if I don't have one. So we're going to go create account for myself. First name. I'm going to say IGA example. It's going to ask for our information, so I'm just going to put that in. Alright, so it's got our birth date. So it's going to suggest a couple there, so I'm going to just say example_iga@gmail.com, that's fine by me. Put in a password. So we're going to put in now you may see me struggling here, that's because I have fat thumbs and I'm trying to select something very fine. Alright, we've got our password in. I'm going to click next. I'm going to have that blurred on screen because that's a password we do actually use. Add a phone number. I'm going to say no. We'll skip that. Of course you could put yours in if you wanted to. So we've got example_iga@gmail.com. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget it. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to click on next. It's going to ask us for the privacy and terms. So I have to say, typically you're meant to read all of that. I have in the past, so I'm just going to click I agree. Plus I'm going to factory wipe this afterwards, but if you haven't read it, you're supposed to. Please do. And then agree or disagree, as your standard license convention determines. So it's going through and setting up. I'm going to fast forward through that if I need to. Protect your phone, so you can put in a pattern, pin or password. I'm going to say not now. Skip screen lock, yeah, skip anyway, because this is going to be a PDE, I'm not too worried about it. So it's going through and doing a setup. The screen just flipped, so I'll take it out now. We're going to try again. It can't read the Wi-Fi for whatever reason. There we go. Google Assistant. No, we don't really need that. No thanks. Check out what's trending with the Google Assistant. Continue. Google services. So if we want to back up, if we want access, yada yada yada. More, accept. Anything else? No thanks. You can always add your email account there if you really want to. Wait a minute for it to load. I'm going to put it back on charge just for a sec. Excellent, so it's still recognizing the dock. So at this point I'll take it out. We should have enough charge for the rest of this video. So at this point we're going to go into the Play Store. And in Google Play, we're going to search Dexta, D-E-X-T-A. It's going to have the Dexta by Independent Solutions there with 100 plus downloads, so we're going to click install on that. So there it is, it's downloading. Not sure how well you can see that. And while we're here, I'm also going to go into SOS Splashtop. So Splashtop SOS, I'm going to move this closer and just try and refocus the camera a little bit. There we go. So that program there allows your technicians, us, Independent Solutions, to connect directly into the device. I'm also going to use this to actually record from this screen in a minute instead of using the camera, so I don't have to keep refocusing it. So I'll click on install. Okay, so it's successfully installed Dexta. Successfully installed. Splashtop SOS successfully installed. So what we'll do, I'm going to immediately go into sos.splashtop. So there's our two apps, SOS Splashtop. Now I'm doing this for the recording. You would only need to do this if you have an issue. But you'd click configure down there and change this to on and OK. And then you're going to go here, and that's the number you would read out to your technician should you have an issue. So I'm going to go connect to that now, bear with me. But I'm going to put this back in the cradle. Alright, so I'm connecting to it now. Not sure how well you can see that, but it's going to prompt for an allow or a reject. I'm going to click allow, and I'm going to say start now. There we go. So this device is now being controlled by myself as a technician, and I think you can actually see that. I may need to focus up, but there you go. Being accessed by Independent Solutions Jared. Now, like I said, you don't actually need to do that. I'm doing this so I can record from it to give you a cleaner shot. So now that we've got to this stage, I'm going to swap over to the other view. Keep in mind, like I said, you wouldn't need to worry about that. I would still install it and get it configured so that should you have issues with it, you can just call us and give us the code to get dialed in. But I would recommend you immediately go to Dexta. So we'll swap over to the actual screen recording area now, and we'll go from there.
Alright, so this is the view that the technician has of the Dexta device. So now that we're on here, we are going to go through and set it up. So as I said, normally you wouldn't have to worry about that. I would recommend setting up SOS just in case a tech does need to get in there and help you with something, but normally you can just click on Dexta, load it up. Now at this point I'm going to talk you through what will happen in the initial screen. So the first thing we're going to get asked is if we want to have or allow the device to access the camera, which of course we have to say yes to because that's what it uses to scan barcodes. So you can see that there, it's gone upside down. It's because I have it upside down in the dock at the moment. And then it's going to ask us for license, as it does there. No license information has been found. Please enter your credentials below to request a license. So the reason we're going to discuss this is because of how this process works. So when you buy one of these off us, it goes through to the finance department and they're going to create your user ID, which is just your email essentially, in the portal. Now what will happen there is they'll grab the email that's associated with your account or your store in our customer access or our customer databasing tool, or our CRM if you want to use technical terms, and they'll put it to that. Now if you're not watching that email, you'll need to let Independent Solutions know so that we can create a different account under the correct email. But if you are using that one, just check it for usually within about a week since you bought it, depending on shippings and stuff like that. But you want to check your junk as well, make sure it's there. It would have gone to no reply, or would have come from no reply at Independent Solutions. Once you've got it, there's going to be a link there to put in your email and your password. So you put in your password, create it. You would come back to this, put in your email, put in your password. So just to quickly recap, you'll get an email to whatever email we have set up for you in our customer access management system. You'll get an email to there. It usually goes to junk as spam or whatever have you. So you'll need to check your emails. You'll need to check your junk, and you want to check back about a week or two, and it's going to come from no-reply@Independent Solutions. In that email, there will be a link to another website which will set your password. So you click the link, it will take you to the Independent Solutions portal. You fill out the email and the password. It'll create the password. You come back to your Dexta. The user ID is your email. The password is the password you've just set, and off you go. So I'll put in the one that I use for all of my demonstrations. I just realized I can't type, so I use the Ask the Expert account for all the demos. If you haven't seen what Ask the Expert is, it's a live webinar we do every quarter on random topics that have been brought up, or things that have hit support lately. So the last one we did was on stock takes, and it was before end of financial year, and that was just because we knew that people would have stock take queries before end of financial year. Alright, so that's there. I'm going to fill out the password, so keep in mind I will be keeping the password field blurred, just so that people don't actually use the Ask the Expert account for their Dexters. Alright, so I've done that. I'm going to request a license now. It's requesting. Again, it's just gone upside down because it's upside down in the dock. Don't worry about that. Save password to Google. You know what? I will. Not that it matters. Autofill. You know what? If it's going to take time, no, because we're recording. So this is where I said it's going to ask, allow Dexta to take pictures and record video. We're going to allow that because that's how it reads the PLUs. Here's all of our Dexta release notes. So by default, my account's got version 1.3. We do release version updates here on the YouTube channel. I highly recommend you like and subscribe so you keep an eye on that. But otherwise, you can have a scroll through and have a look at all the things we've done since Dexta's launch. If you already know roughly, or you are a follower of the channel, just click the back button on Android and it'll close that. And here we go, we're on the Dexta home screen. So what we've done just there is linked the Dexta application to the Independent Solutions portal to make sure it's got a license. And that's to stop people from just openly using the program when they're not paying for it. So now we need to connect it to the ProfitTrack server. So that way it can get all the product information, it knows where to send information if you've scanned things, and so on and so on. And you can tell it's not connected at the moment because in the top right we have a cloud with a strike through it. So what we'll do is we'll click on the three lines in the top left, click on Configuration. Now in here, it's going to need a username and password. Now, on some devices, there'll be an extra button here called Scan Settings. Because this is just the Meemaw, it's going to just basically have a button to press on the actual device. It's not going to have the software button. Alright, I'm going to take this back to the camera so that you can see it real time with what it does, and we'll go from there.
Alright, so I'm going to do this by hand, so it's going to be a little bit shaky, my apologies. But essentially at this point I've got the Dexta out of the cradle. So what we're doing on here, as I said before, was clicking the three lines, then configuration. And in the configuration screen, I may need to refocus that. Anyway, there's either going to be a button there, depending on your unit, or if you've got one like this, which is the Meemaw specifically from Data Logic, you'll have a scanner in the form of just the one button at the bottom there. So in ProfitTrack, you want to go into Setup at the top, System Settings, System Options, scroll right down, and you'll have a PT Mate and add a Dexta device. If you don't have this information filled out, you just click the Enable PT Mate and follow the prompts, but otherwise, click on that, you'll get a QR code, and you're going to want to scan that. There we go. It's going to read it and set itself up. It does take a minute. So, alright, so this might happen sometimes, that's fine. Now, if you do get an error like that, contact Independent Solutions and we can fix that for you. Although if you are kind of tech savvy, the other way is to get the IP of your machine and put it into your server name. So my server name there is EMPISJARK2, which is the name of my computer. although it's not resolving the name, if you know what that means. Basically, you put in the IP, it'll communicate, and off we go. Now, you don't need to scan the QR code again. If you are tech savvy, just put in the IP and click enroll, and that'll do it. So I'll do that now, bear with me. So now click enroll, enrolled successfully, and it is talking to me while it does that. It's now loading everything. You'll notice it's also closed the QR code on my profit track. So it's going through and loading. Right now what it's doing is pulling all the products in from the server. The more products, the longer this will take, the less, the quicker. Now, at this point I'm also going to mention, I won't cover it in this video, but if you need to know how to use the Dexta software, there's a link in the top right now on how to actually use Dexta. There's also a video in the Dexta playlist on how to set up a Bluetooth printer with it, which is the Sato series printers. I'll let that go through. Complete. So you can see here, last updated today, July 7th, 2021. I have 13,000 products and nearly 15,000 PLUs. It's currently connected to that server, and if I go back, you'll notice the cloud in the top right now is completely colored in and it's not got the cross through it, which means this is now a set up and working Dexta. So if you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Cheers!